Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. It is Teacher Jen here, and as promised, it's week 7, and I'm coming to you every other week with my thoughts and my experiences about VIPKid. I'm really happy that my bookings are starting to pick up now. I think one of the best ways to increase your bookings and get a full schedule with VIPKid is to fall in love with teaching. And I'm going to talk about that more later because if you know anything about my background, I'm the daughter of a mother who taught English, and I always said for my whole life, I'm 44 years old, that I would never be a teacher. So for me to find myself in a situation where I am teaching and I'm loving it, it's very surprising and it's delightful. So I would give you that piece of advice. It's not hard. It's not hard to fall in love with teaching. You definitely will do it. And that is the number one way to get repeat bookings, which is how you fill your schedule. So week 7, so far so good. Love the flexibility. It's so great for me to be home with my daughter. The time that I'm teaching is either before she wakes up or after she goes to sleep. So it's really flexible. I already took it on the road. We did some traveling. It worked that way too. So I am loving this so far. So today I wanted to talk to you about my VIPKid classroom because I am a resident of Brooklyn, New York, which if you know anything, or maybe you live in a big city, but if you know anything about New York, space is at a premium here. So, um, you first get into VIPKid and you're like, oh, what? I can sit at home and work on my computer and make $20 an hour and do this at, off times when it's perfectly great for me and my schedule. And you think, oh, this is awesome. I'm going to start doing this. What is this VIPKid? And you go to the workshop and you start taking the test and you send your little video in. And then you come to find out that, oh, no, I can't just sit on my couch or sit in my bed or be in my PJs. I actually have to have a classroom set up. Um, so for me, this was really a challenge. I live in a 2-bedroom apartment, so it's really a tight space. I also have a 9-month-old baby, so the space that we have, it's covered with, pads and I mean, it's literally right here. You'll see it in the video later, but we don't have a kitchen table. We don't have a dining room table. I don't even have an actual chair where I could sit and set up like a shelf or a place behind me because we don't have that space. So this is for you teachers and thinking about becoming teachers. If you're looking around and you're saying, I absolutely do not have a place where I can set up a classroom, this video is for you because let me tell you, you do have space. You can be really creative. This is how I do it. I set it up at night before I go to sleep. It's almost completely ready, when I get up in the morning. So all I have to do is get my coffee, put on a little mascara and whatnot, and I'm, reviewing my notes and I'm ready to go. So without further ado, this is my home classroom. So as you can see, I have a very tiny space and I have maximized that space to be the best it can be without being intrusive on the rest of my apartment or my living arrangement or getting in my daughter's way or my husband's way. So if you think that you don't have space and you can't do this because you don't know where you're going to put a classroom. Use this as an example. It's really easy. I did not spend a lot of money. I'll put links in the description box below so you can see what are all the things that I purchased. The backdrop you can get from Amazon, they're really cheap and they're really easy, and I think they look the most professional. If you look at videos, you'll see a lot of teachers hang a curtain or hang some kind of sheet in the background. I guess that's fine. I mean, I'm sure that's a way to set up your backdrop, but I just don't think it looks as good as an actual backdrop. Now, the one that I have, I've pulled it up and taken it down probably 100 times already. So it's not going to last forever, but I will say on video it still looks good. And I'm just going to keep using it until it absolutely falls apart. One important point is you will want to use Velcro if you're in a situation where you're putting it up and taking it down all the time, because it will fall apart if you try and use duct tape, which is what I used in the beginning, and it doesn't last for long. If you put up the Velcro, yes, you can see the Velcro, but it's also camouflage. It's the same color as your paint. You're not going to see it. Nobody's going to see it. If they see it, they'll be like, what's that? And you're like, oh, it's VIPKid. It's this great thing. You should try it. Okay, props. So I wanted to talk to you about props because, as you can see, my classroom is very small. I have a little bit of space, so I don't have exactly drawers of toys and things that I can use for props. So to get started, the first few weeks, I really focused on TPR, and I really focused on using flashcards. These were my saviors. I use these a lot, especially this one. I got them at the dollar store. Go to the dollar store. You can't believe it. You go in there and you're like, I can't believe this stuff is actually $1. And it is actually $1, even in New York City. So, things for like colors and dog and cat. It just is another way to build an interest. And if you have a small space like me, it doesn't take up a lot of space. So you really will use these and they'll be great. And the other thing that I did is I got these professional grade whiteboards. So these are so great because they have more room than the one that you get at the dollar store. I'll leave a link for these below, but they're great because you can write on them. They erase really easily. You can also use this as a board for your reward system. So I have the candies in the candy jar or the fish in the fish bowl, and I just put a little clip there, and that's my board. And I can pick it up and put it down and use it, and it's really easy. And this has been so helpful for me. Okay, so props. I only had a few things, but I wanted to show you these things so you can get some ideas, some inspiration to look around your house and think, oh, I really do have more stuff that I can use for props here than I thought. So for instance, this is a big one. This is just a decorative globe that I had in my little wall unit. I didn't even realize it was there. It's not a teaching tool. It's not something that I will use going into the future. But for now, because I've had students, signing up who have, traveling from America to China, this is a great way to show them, oh, America, China, and show them the distances without it being a map that, for instance, has the United States right in the middle of the map, which we know isn't true. So I think it's great to be able to show a globe. Other random house thing that I used that worked really well was two things that were exactly alike to demonstrate the word twins. What is twins? So sometimes, you're saying words in the phonics section, but you have a student who's a little bit more advanced. They don't know what those words are. They're just saying words and sounding out words, and you can ask them, do you know that word? Do you know that word? These are great props for demonstrating what those words might be. Another thing that I've used that's worked really well is magazines and books. Sometimes just showing them another picture that's not on the slide, really builds interest, and they see, oh, my teacher was prepared. My teacher did something else, something new. So like airplane for the travel slides, and this is my daughter's Primeras Palabras book. We're hoping she's going to be bilingual. She's Latin and Italian and Chinese, and she's everything. But Anyway, so this is a great book because the pictures are so good. So, for pets, like animal pets versus, oh, these are wild animals. So you really can see, the actual picture of the animal and it's not just like a toy representation of that thing, which I think for learning purposes is better. And then what else did I use? I've used dolls to represent he and she because this is the best thing that I had at hand in my house. Like I said, my she's only 9 months old and she's a girl, so she doesn't have a lot of things like airplanes and cars and toys and things like that. So these have been helpful. They've been helpful for he, for she, for they. I can also use it as like a puppet. I don't have a puppet right now, but it is useful to mimic conversation with another thing that's not your student if they're very young and they don't understand yet answering questions. So those have been helpful. And then this is an interesting reward system that I use. I have a student who is a bright kid, but he's a little bit older, but his skill set is lower. So he gets bored easily and he gets distracted. So for a reward, I use a giant jar of coins and then I'll just take another thing and I'll fill it up every time. Every time he does good and he gets a star, I'm like, oh, look, you got a bunch of coins. At the end, we're going to add them up and see how much you got. And by the end, I don't have the jar to show you right now because the jar is full of salad dressing, but something like this, you get the idea. By the end, it's filled up to the top. And I won't say he was blown out of the water by it, but it was something different, something that made noise, something that was a little bit more masculine, I would say, than some of the other, paper rewards that you get off the VIP Kid system. Um, and so you can see that these are all very homemade props. They're things that you would find around your house, magazines, decorative items, coins, cups. Cups are great for demonstrating water, drink, wet. There's a lot of things that you can do with a cup. So just having your water there at the beginning of class, use it as a prop. That is also a prop. So those are my advice to you as a new teacher, as thinking about becoming a new teacher. You definitely can do it. You don't need to have a lot of space. You don't need to have a lot of props. You don't need to put out a lot of money to get started. You can get started and start to build your skill set and your love of teaching, and that is going to build your schedule, and then you'll have plenty of money flowing, and you can go crazy with buying props and your teacher setup and whatever else it is that you want to do. Um, so I will leave my link in the box below. I'll also leave my email address if you have any questions whatsoever. Please get in touch with me. I would love to help you. I would love to help you pass the test. I would love to just be a support for you or just a resource. I've met doing workshops many other teachers online, and I always am in a situation where I'm like, but I want to ask you a question. I want to ask you a question. So if you see this video and you have a specific question for me, please reach out to me. I will leave my email in the box below. And also, if you like this video and you're in VIPKid and you're thinking about it, please subscribe. Please like, please share. And as you may have heard, the girl is awake, so it's time for me to sign off now. But until next time, happy teaching. Bye.